The Freedom of Information Act has been in the making since the GSLP Liberal administration came into office in 2011. It's had a difficult birth. There were no comments following the publication of a command paper, but the UK government made some representations about how it affected the office of the governor. This required detailed discussions, which were interrupted by a general election in 2015. The Deputy Chief Minister, Joseph Garcia, said former Prime Minister Tony Blair had described the Freedom of Information Act in the UK as one of his biggest mistakes because of the cost and administrational burden to public officers. And so the Gibraltar government has taken a more cautious approach. The Gibraltar Act will be governed by the Information Commissioner under the regulatory authority. Every government department and authority will be required to designate a member of staff as a Freedom of Information officer, and guidance notes will be issued to these departments. The Act will make departments responsible for disclosing information on request from a member of the public. There is a list of reasons why the information may be refused. For example, if it contains correspondence between ministers, cabinet documents, internal communications between public authorities, or if the volume of the request is manifestly unreasonable. This refusal can be redirected to the Information Commissioner and ultimately appealed before the Supreme Court. Opposition leader Elliot Phillips said there was a risk of looking down the wrong end of the telescope and actually creating a list of exemptions to freedom of information. But he said this was an important piece of legislation which would enjoy the support of the opposition. Meanwhile, Parliament saw the first legislative impact of Brexit. The European Elections Act requires canvassing every October ahead of European elections, which are due next year. Given Gibraltar is leaving the EU, this would be an entirely pointless and expensive process, and therefore it won't be happening.